Many of the use cases I talked about a moment ago are in the pilot stage. The challenge some agencies are finding is moving from pilot to production. John Bender's Regional Vice President for Federal for Neo4j. He tells me that change is normal.
I don't think it's anything but the natural process. You know, at the end of the day, what's going on here is the government's trying to figure out how to use Gen AI. There's a lot of use cases. It could be as simple as trying to understand, process documentation, and it could be through it could be the Congress looking at, different laws or positions and trying to understand and using Gen AI to better understand the volume of work, if you will, and get a better understanding of what's going on. That's a very useful Gen AI example to help, automate that and be smart about it. The other ones then, the harder ones, are when it becomes valuable, like helping a citizen make a decision. Those are great, applications, but there's risk in there. What if they're wrong? Mm-hmm. What happens if the decision is improper? What if the AI returns the wrong decision, the wrong guidance? That's the issue, right? So a lot of these are unwilling to come out of pilot phase because they're still getting errors. The Gen AI will, if you're familiar with what's going on in the back end with LLMs and what have you, they're doing word associations and proximities and calculating what words go together. It's not based on facts. Mm. So a lot of the pilots right now are not using anything but that type of information. They're using vectors, which makes it better. And don't get me wrong, I think the Gen AI and the LLMs are doing fantastic things. I use the term automagical sometimes because I'm not sure how they got the response, but they were right. Mm. It's fabulous. But they're still missing facts. And that's where, the next stage is going to be the graph, right? Or what's being coined as the knowledge graph now, right? And then there's the graph RAG, which is the retrieval augmented generation aspect of using the graph. Because what the graph deals with is facts. It's symbolic in a sense, right? It's using people, places, things, and it's using connections and relationships between them. So we're an organization that just uses an LLM and maybe some of their vector work. Okay, it doesn't know anything about your business though, right? And that's the thing. It's like it's having the best business consultant out there that knows nothing about your business, which is problematic for trying to answer real life problems or citizen facing things or even internal facing decisions. What if they're trying to figure out an HR question that could mean the difference between hiring and firing? You really want to base that off of data that's not internal? Mm. And that's the challenge, right? Yeah. So you got to be careful. So that's where the graph comes in. So now you start to put the facts of your business into the graph. And it can handle vectors as well, so it can be structured and unstructured, a mix of both. And then what happens is now the Gen AI has that extra data, so it comes through the graph RAG, then basically gets a subset of information. So when the question is asked, the Gen AI will do a fabulous job of translating it into cipher codes, moving that through and getting it back into the LLM. So basically what you're doing is you're saying, here's your general question, but I'm giving you more facts about my business to help you form the right answer or more accurate. And what they found is using GraphRag is you get about a 3x increase in correctness, in validity. What they're finding, plus in a lot of cases, it's almost 28% faster, wow, which is impressive, yeah, right? So if you're three times more accurate and faster, that's the next phase, mm-hmm, right? That's where they're going to head. So, the first journey is correct, get in there, get piloting and understand, but now you got to understand the risk of not going further, yeah, right? And it's risky if you don't, because, in the public sector, the private sector, it's money, yeah, it's loss, it's shareholder values, it's all these other things. It could be in the government, it could be, someone in the VA trying to get help and trying to figure out how to do it and getting the wrong answers. That's not acceptable.
Who has to do what to move agencies to the next level? Are there things that they can do internally? Are they reliant on industry? Is there a collaboration piece? What does that look like in a 12 to 24 month time window?
So what they're saying, Gartner is saying now that in 2025, 50% of all Gen Is will include the knowledge graph. So it's coming. It's the next, what's happening in most of the AI, call it the AI practitioners now, the leaders in AI, they're all going to the knowledge graph now too, because it's a progression. It's not replacing anything out of the Gen AI, it's adding more value. So that's where everything's heading. So the government's going to get there. It's just a matter of, of giving them time. And part of it's the process. Government is methodical, is the term I will use. in how they approach and process, right? In part of the, people don't realize that the procurement process in the government is part of their readiness. It's part of how their force structure is procurement's a big piece of that. So any way that they can optimize their procurement, we use Amazon a lot. We use the Marketplace because the Marketplace is a great place we have found in the last year for making procurements go more smoothly with the government because they don't have to have multiple procurements to pick up the technology now. So that's one of the ways we've helped them accelerate in getting into the knowledge, into the graphs and the knowledge graphs.